Hey, Sunshine Parenting listeners, and welcome to this week's episode of the podcast. This week, I have another walk and talk episode with my friend Sarah Salsa Kuljis. We're hoping that you'll strap on your walking shoes and join us as we share encouragement and ideas with each other and with you.
Okay, I think we're live, and I'm now turning on my treadmill. You were already going. Okay. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Salsa and Sunshine Walk and Talk. Things are getting a little more hectic in both our lives, so this was kind of a scramble getting here today, huh, Salsa?
It sure was, but the accountability is really good because I will show up for y'all and work out, and it's a good thing.
Yeah, so probably this would have been one of those days that without this scheduled, we likely wouldn't have done our walk and talk, right?
Absolutely. I'd still be at the office trying to accomplish something that may not be accomplished tonight. And then I would get home and say, I just cannot do it. But here we are. And it's going to feel so good in a few minutes.
I know. Well, anyway, for those of you joining us for the first time, we call this Salsa and Sunshine Walk and Talk. And just a little bit about us. We are both longtime summer camp owners and directors. So we have a lot of experience working with kids, young adults, parents, and we sort of just have a lot of things that we love to talk about. We both also have adult children or young adult children. I have 5 kids, 17 to 27 right now. Also, why don't you tell about your family?
I've got 3, and the youngest is 17, and the oldest is 23. So 2 in college and 1 in high school.
So anyway, Sarah and I have been friends for a very long time, and our camp names, both of us have camps where we have nicknames, and my nickname is Sunshine and hers is Salsa. So we decided that when we do these walks together that we share with you, and that we would just be camp people. try to be your encouraging camp directors for your walk. Our hope is that you will actually walk while listening, if you can, if it's possible. And I do release this on my Sunshine Parenting podcast as episodes. They've been coming out about every 2 to 3 weeks. I'll do a Salsa and Sunshine Walk and Talk in between my other interviews. So if you're a podcast listener, I really hope you'll check out Sunshine Parenting and all the episodes coming up on there. So the whole point of our walks together, both for each other when we're just walking and talking without recording, and now we're inviting you to join us, is we really just want to provide some encouragement. We want to kind of help support and encourage each other and you. And Salsa, why don't you explain our Salsa and Sunshine theme?
Oh, well, sure. When we met each other, we actually already had these nicknames, which was so fun. And Sunshine is just perfect for Audrey because there is this positivity and hopefulness and encouragement and optimism that she just exudes all the time. It is such a gift. And mine is more a little bit, there's fun, hopefully some a little craziness and a little creativity, but there's also a little spiciness too. So together we are Sunshine and Salsa.
Love it. I feel like we should be a rock band or something.
I was in a really bad rock band in college.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I wanted to.
Were you a singer?
Yeah, I was lead, and I just wanted to be Pat Benatar. That was all I wanted in my whole life.
Oh my gosh. Okay, that is good. Do you have any pictures of that? We gotta pull those out of the archives.
Oh, probably in some really old photo album from college in the attic. But if I find any, I promise I'll post.
Oh, gosh, please do, because I want to see that. And then forgive me, everybody. I was kind of finishing up a snack. It's a wonderful orange scone that my daughter made this morning, and I just kind of grabbed one on my way out here. It's a little snack, and I was still eating it when we started. But anyway, that's how it is. You need a snack sometimes when before you walk, right?
Absolutely.
So we like to start these each time we meet with Salsa sharing an affirmation. This is an area that I have learned a lot about from Salsa. In fact, I think I shared with you that I wrote an article for Camping Magazine that's coming out for the staff training that is basically just sharing all of your 3 levels of affirmation stuff that we've talked about. Of course, give you full credit for it. And when we were doing the research and the editor was like, where'd she get this information? She was like, oh, I thought it up myself, which I was like, brilliant, my brilliant friend. Anyway, so you are somewhat of an expert on affirming and how to best affirm our kids and other people we love and work with. So, so what do you have for us this week?
Well, this week I am going to share a little affirmation that actually works for grown-ups and spouses and family members as well as children. But we're going into Easter, and typically Easter weekend is a time that lots of families dress up to go to church or to brunch or to secret their grandparents. And with COVID, I don't know if we're all getting to do that, but some of us are going to be dressed up this weekend. And very often when we see a youngster dressed well, we'll say, I like that dress, or I like that tie. And the focus of the affirmation is on the clothing item. And really, as parents, we want our kids to have an internal compass that they are lovely all by themselves, warts and all, freckles and crazy hair. And so one way to flip an affirmation about appearance is to say, Lori, you make that dress look so good. Or Dylan, you make that suit look very handsome. And it's a small thing, but it actually lands differently on a human being because it's more about their presence and what they're pulling off rather than the, cool label or the clothing item. And especially at summer camp, we always want to kind of like take the air out of the labels and, we're all just getting muddy together in whatever we're wearing. So I love especially when I see a young person to say, wow, you make that skirt, that dress, that hat, that suit look awesome. So that's my little tip for Easter weekend.
That's so cool. Or like when someone has a cool hairdo, like, wow, you are really creative with the way you did your hair, or something like that.
Right. It's like, about you have a sense of style. I love that.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. What a great tip. And, I think especially for women, I know you probably talk about this with your staff, but for women, it really rolls off the tongue easily when we see a friend we haven't seen in a long time to comment on their hair or their outfit, or it's fine to do that. And like you said, that's a level 1 affirmation. And sure, it's really nice when someone says, oh, you look so nice today. You actually complimented my hair right before we started. And I was like, oh, thanks.
I did.
I actually washed it today for the first time in 3 days. So I was like, thank you. But anyway, I just think that especially for the women at camp, we really try to help them learn how to focus on not those surface sort of appearance based affirmations or compliments, just because those are the ones that everyone hears the most and aren't the ones that really you remember years later.
Right.
You're not going to like remember years later that someone, liked your outfit one day, but you will remember someone commenting on your amazing style.
Yes.
Oh, I love that so much. Okay, so one of the ways that we do this in our families, we do this at our camps, and we do this with each other. And so we share with you on these walk and talks our highs and lows. And if you don't already do this with your friends who, whether you get together regularly or you haven't seen each other in a while, it's a really good way to make sure you really catch up on what's going on with your friend, is just to ask, like, what's the best thing that's happened since we talked last? What's the worst thing? Or however you want to word it, just because then you'll make sure that you'll hear about what's really going on with that person and you're not going to miss something important. That's true with kids as well. Yes, we want to be positive and we want our kids to share about good things, but we really need them to also share with us about anything that's hard or going wrong, right? So Sarah, why don't you go first this week? Do you want to share your highs and lows?
Sure, I'd be happy to. I have 2 highs and I couldn't decide, so you get them both.
Yay,
The first one
I love
is
a double high week.
there we go. High squared. A longtime friend, actually, we met working at summer camp when we were in college. And we eventually moved back east to Washington, D.C. at the same time. And we had years there. She's still there, actually. We developed a group of friends in D.C. in our 20s that just shaped our whole lives. And it was fun and creative. Basically, we just did funny camp stunts all through our 20s. And my friend Liz went through her old photo album and digitized dozens and dozens and dozens of pictures from our 20s. And throughout the week, she was just texting them to me. And no matter where I was, what I was doing, there we were with wigs on in a El Torito. There we were hiking a peak in our pajamas. There we were, throwing a cartoon breakfast party with people coming on the metro to come. And there was just these moments of memory and friendship and fun and creativity. And it's made my week. It was so fun. Also, it's amazing how young you look when you're my age now. And I'm like, ooh, I look so good in my 20s. And then also my other high is my son, Nick, goes to school in Boulder. Boulder's had a rough couple weeks. And we grieve with them and for them. My son found a round trip ticket from Denver to Orange County for $35. And he flew in this morning and he's going to stay for a week. And just to get a little extra time with my big boy is just fills my heart. So that's a good thing.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
so excited for you guys. Yeah. So you'll have everybody home then for the week.
Well, actually, Sasha got a last minute invitation to a spring break trip with her germ circle. So she is going to go sailing for the week with her germ circle.
I love that.
Yes. Yes. So we'll miss her, but she's going to have an adventure and it's good. It's good.
Yeah.
What about your highs, Audrey?
Oh my gosh, I love that. First of all, that's great. My highs were, I guess I can share more than one too, since you did too, but I'm getting my second vaccine tomorrow, which just makes me really happy. I know some people have posted, pictures when they're done and stuff. And, or after the first one, I saw Gretchen Rubin posted a photo of herself getting her first vaccine. And it is a really good feeling to know that you're on the way towards being someone who hopefully won't be spreading it or getting this disease. So I just love that feeling. And I have heard that the second one, people get wiped out sometimes, tired, sometimes mild temperature, whatever. And I'm ready. It's on a Friday. So I'm ready with my books. And if I need to just listen to podcasts or audiobooks and relax, I can do that. So yeah, that's a big high. And I guess I'll just share that as my high because we have so many other things to talk about and we don't have much time today because I have something else at 5.
I will share both my husband and I, we had our second vaccinations last Friday. And our folks who gave us our jab said, what you got to do is go home, take Tylenol and drink Gatorade and do that a couple times a day before you go to bed. And it won't be so bad. And, we both had we were a little punky the next day, but it was not bad at all. That second wasn't bad at all. So Tylenol and Gatorade apparently is the ticket.
Okay. And you know what's so funny? I forgot who I had learned that from, but I shared that with my friend who was feeling tired. And then her husband, who was kind of having anticipatory anxiety about his second shot, I said, do Gatorade and Tylenol before you even feel anything. And he said it was good. The other thing, this is just side note. Did you see that news? They're not sure yet, but apparently some of the people with long haul COVID symptoms are finding that they don't have the symptoms anymore after getting vaccinated.
Yes, I heard that twice now on NPR, and I'm so stoked for them. They've been going months and months. So discouraging.
Yeah.
And it's lifting. Who knew?
Yeah. Some people have been feeling sick for a year, mildly gross. I mean, that terrible feeling of just not being well, right? Tired or almost mono kind of, I don't know. Anyway, that's super good news. So anyway, very promising. Still
can I share one more little vaccine note?
Please.
Some folks have been picking up some information on social media, Facebook, whatever, about some concerns about like health risks of vaccinations. And Reuters has some great articles fact checking all of that. And so if you are someone who wants a trusted source, I'd urge you to go on Reuters.com and just type in your question. And they've just had some really, really good articles of late rather. And so those have been helpful.
So they fact check any news related to vaccines.
Yes.
Okay. Amazing. Okay. I will definitely check that out. I know the people who are posting, I have my chip in now. Just kidding. Just kidding.
No, my husband keeps saying that. And I'm like, honey, it's not helpful.
Yeah.
It's just not helpful.
Yeah. Stop joking about it. Okay. How about a low for you this week?
You know, this week, my lows are hard this week and they're not mine. They're lows I'm carrying for friends. So I have 3 friends who are in really, 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 really hard places, health-wise and such. And it's hard to have friends far away who are in really tough places, and you cannot be there for them. And all you can do is hold them in your heart, pray for them, send a few funny texts, but so it's just hard to be, I grieve for them.
Gosh, I feel like that's one of the sub stories of this past year, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's been so many hard things with financially and businesses. And I mean, we've been through them ourselves, so we really can relate. And it's hard. I've been doing all this deep dive into empathy and compassion and like active listening to get ready for some staff training stuff. And it's really interesting because you really there's some things that people say that aren't really helpful. Like, it's not always helpful to say, oh, I know exactly how you're feeling. And actually that's kind of almost hurtful when you really don't, right? You can be really with them in their sadness and be sad with them or grieving with them. And I think it's just, anyway, I'm learning a lot of good things and good phrases to say. So I'll share that with y'all once I have it all compiled, but it's coming along. It's really going to be a lot of information. It started with someone on my camp staff asking me to get the homesickness training ready for staff. And of course I go on this whole tangent that this isn't just training about when a child comes to you because they're feeling homesick. It's training for when a child comes to you with anything, good, bad, or otherwise. If they're excited, even if it's something that you're not super excited about, it's still like you want to be with them and really be actively listening. Do you need to go swap out your phone or something?
I'm just plugging in is all.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Well, while you're doing that, I will share my low. And I almost hesitated to share this because I just didn't want to bring up something so negative seeming, but I decided that April, I don't know if you know this, but April is Child Abuse Awareness Month. And, as people who love working with youth, love youth, and have spent our lives working to protect youth and train our staff for safe and healthy practices with youth, it's really heartbreaking to hear when kids have been abused of any kind. And so it's really been on my heart, and I'm just going to share without any names that there was news came out this week, and it's actually really old news. I guess it's from like the early 2000s, like whatever. But basically, like the gist of what I observed from it was that leaders of like organization did not respond appropriately when children, parents, I don't know about other staff, but for sure parents and children came to the leaders with what we know. If you are trained in any way about how to prevent child abuse, red flags of abusers, we all know this, right? Anyone who interviews staff for a school position, a camp position, anything working with kids, you have to be on the lookout for red flags because people who abuse children try to get jobs at places where there are children. So this is something that, it's really an important thing for parents and for anyone who leads a youth serving organization to understand and to follow through on. And when a leader fails to follow through on that, it hurts everyone. It hurts not just those children and the future children that get, if the person is allowed to continue, it also hurts the reputation of everyone who works with youth in that same industry. So I have just been feeling really, it's been my dinner table conversation all week with my kids and my family, just my frustration that, bad things get in the news, right? And so when bad things get in the news about a camp, for example, it makes people rightly feel like, oh my gosh, is camp dangerous? And so I would just like that is my thing. I am very focused. I'm going to be sharing a lot of stuff about child abuse prevention. I really like the training that our staff does. It's called Darkness to Light. They do an online training before camp, and then we follow up on it with more training at camp. But a big part of the training is identifying red flags in other adults, because that's the key way that you stop abuse. Is you have an adult who says, oh, that was a really off-color joke, or that was a little inappropriate, and their red flag goes up, and they follow through and say, hey, I think this thing that this person said doesn't seem right to me. What do you think? And we all take responsibility for all the children. It's not like, oh, that's in someone else's class, that's in someone else's group. We all take that responsibility as an organization for all children. So anyway, I'll get off my soapbox, but for sure my low was hearing about abuse that got shoved under the rug, basically.
That was a rough one, that bit of news. And I think, Audrey, in any of the big organizations that we've heard about over the years where this has been kind of chronic, so often it's someone of importance and status that an organization doesn't want to lose. And leaders, all of us, we need to be brave and say that even if it's a figurehead or a favorite staff member or whatever, we still have to be the brave one and say, something's wrong, something's up. We're going to make a change right now. So, yeah.
Well, and the other part of this, and I don't know about you, but I know for me, I want to know that the organization where I send my children is trustworthy and will let us know if anything's going on, if there's somebody, who they had to let go or whatever because of whatever. I'd rather know all the stuff and not hear about it. Like, I think it's now 10 years later or 12 years. You know what I mean? I feel like that's a betrayal of the trust that people put, so anyway, so that's the other thing. I would just urge people, even though it's sometimes the hard thing, is to be really honest and upfront with families, because first of all, that's how you make sure that things don't continue. And you also make sure you really know, and that you have that back and forth communication where people tell you when they see anything or feel anything that's off. And it's not just about child abuse, it's about anything, right?
I agree.
All right, so we'll move on, but I actually am going to reshare. I did a whole podcast episode with Tommy Feldman about like the child abuse prevention practices at camps that are accredited, that follow the standards, that do this training. So it was really good. So I'm going to reshare that, like just, with everybody, because it was really good for people to have an understanding. I think, as camp directors, we don't spend a lot of time talking with parents. Oh, here's all the screening we do, and here's all the training we do. And because it's like a topic that, do you really want to, spend all your time talking about something that's kind of a darkish topic? But just know that it's totally good. If you want to ask your camp what they do, go for it. Please ask your camp, ask your school, how do you screen people? And great questions, because well-run organizations have a whole process in place to protect children. So, okay, now I'm really getting off my soapbox, but next thing we like to share each week is just, kind of some recommendations, like a resource or an enrichment or something that we've tried. So, so do you have anything this week, Salsa?
I do. It's an article that I found earlier in the week. It's from a couple weeks ago, but Audrey, you'll love it because it's so along the lines of all the ways we want to help shape kids and young adults to have strong character, to have grit and resilience. And I just really like the way this writer kind of shared on this same topic. Her name is Amy Morin, and she's a contributor at CNBC. And the article was from March 17, and the title was, "A psychotherapist says the most mentally strong kids always do these 7 things, and parents can teach them how." And I just, I liked, mentally strong, how a mentally strong individual is one who does have grit and resilience. And I'm just going to run through these 7 things. But I loved that even in the title, she encouraged families that you actually can help build these things in your kiddo. And Audrey and I have done parent classes and trainings, and there's such good stuff in your book, Happy Campers, about this. But again, it's fun to see it reframed and hear it in new ways. So the first one is they empower themselves, helping them understand, I can try my best, and I am good enough, their own self-talk. They adapt well to change. That's been such an interesting thing this year, as we've all had to stay so flexible and adaptable. And, when we consider, okay, parents, how do we help our kids adapt to change? How do we make it okay that change isn't scary, and that it takes a little while to get your feet under you, and then you can keep going and, help coach those nerves. Anyway, I loved that one. Number 3 is they know when to say no. Man, I didn't learn how to say no till I was like 45. And what a good skill to say, no, actually, I don't want to take on that responsibility too, or no, I'm going to not go to that party. But just really knowing how to say no. I tend to be too responsible, and I always say yes, and then my time gets so overwhelmed. So that's a good one. Number 4 is mentally strong kids own their own mistakes. Mm-hmm. And as parents, we can model owning our mistakes and not blaming, and helping them say, I made a mistake and I will do better. Number 5 is they celebrate other people's successes. I love that one so much because, in a era where, the one best athlete on the team or the one valedictorian gets a lot of the praise, it's a competitive culture then. But if we can delight in each other's successes too, it builds more of a community. And then 2 more. Number 6 is they fall and then they try again. We call it the try again skill at camp. And, the first time I shoot bows and arrows, first time in archery, I might hit the whole target, but I try again. And then the last thing follows closely about that is they persist. That didn't work, I'll problem solve and try something else, but that they don't give up, and that it doesn't always have to look pretty and shiny. The goal, the beauty of not giving up is the persistence. It's not always the outcome. And so I just was delighted to see Amy Morin's article affirming all those good things we want for our own kids and that we work hard to build in our campers.
Oh, love that. And it's so funny. Great minds think alike. I shared that article earlier this week on Sunshine Parenting on the
You
Facebook
did?
page. Yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
I think Chris Cameron sent it to us. I think. I don't know. You know how I get things from so many different places, but I think, anyway, I love that article. I wrote those all out too. I think it was brilliant. So we'll definitely shout out Amy for writing that. Love
awesome.
It so
well,
much.
I'm so sorry. I didn't read that on your on Sunshine Parenting. I usually catch everything.
No, but people who are listening to this probably haven't read it either. So I'm so glad you went over it. It's actually easier than reading the article. You've just summarized it. So you did awesome. Okay, so my recommendation is so funny because it's totally off topic, but you will relate, Salsa, because you and I have been doing this together. So it's about physical well-being. I've always loved running, like exercise, like cardio exercise, and have never incorporated until the beginning of off and on, I would try things, but never consistently. But at the beginning of 2020, even pre-pandemic, I started doing a little more strength training and stretching. And now I've really switched how I spend my time. And I think I've shared that with you, Salsa, too. And I think you're doing a little bit of that too, that, whereas it used to be like, oh, if I have 45 minutes to exercise, I'm going to go for a run for 45 minutes and then jump into the shower and go and do my next thing. Now I'm more like, if I had 45 minutes, I might do 20 minutes of cardio and then one of our 10-minute arm workouts with light weights, and then like 15 minutes of stretching. And I am feeling so much better. Like I was having a lot of those kind of middle-aged shoulder things and knee, just so many, you start getting all these, like, there's always something that's sore or whatever. And by just taking the time to stretch and to do like kind of build some other muscles, it's been so good. So anyway, that's my recommendation, that if you have, whether or not you're a person who doesn't like, even if you don't like doing cardio, even just if you find like a 5-minute stretching routine, something really low key, like that's all I do, like 5 minutes, it will, I think, really change how you're feeling.
That's such good wisdom. And I'm the same way. If it's only 45 minutes, I think cardio is the only way to go. So that little stretching and the, just that flexibility, not only physically, but I think probably emotionally and mentally, that stretching is a real centering thing. So what a good recommendation.
Anyway, so that's my little tip of the day, or my resource or recommendation. So I know a lot of people have been doing, there's so many places where you can just go online and find free YouTube videos, like a 5-minute yoga or whatever. You and I both love Peloton and doing our things. And if you have a friend who has a Peloton, you can actually get a login from their bike. So we have that little, so
yes,
if anybody
Sunshine shared her login with me.
Well, no, you have your own login on my bike. Like I get on my bike and there's a cute little picture of you on there because you're on there. So when you come visit, you can ride the bike. All right. So Salsa, you've got our inspirational quote this week.
Yes. And interestingly, I chose it because it has been to me a season where we've all been talking a lot, we'll complain a lot, and we'll consternate a lot. But I also want this to be a season of change. And so the quote is, "The way we get started is to quit talking and begin doing." Sunshine, do you know who said that?
I do not.
It was Walt Disney.
Oh.
And I just, he doesn't say, get all your, ducks in a row and plan forever and, make sure it's perfect and then start. I just loved it. It's short and sweet and it's not fancy. The way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing. And there's so many ways we can just begin doing. So that was an encouragement to me when we've kind of been in a season of lots and lots of talking and complaining, and someday maybe, but we can start doing.
Oh, so good. It kind of reminds me, I don't know why, if this will even seem related to you or not, but you know how they say that oftentimes there are people who, when they look at a job that's being posted, they won't apply unless they have 100% of the skills. And then there are people who will look at it and say, oh, I know 75% of those things and I'm a quick learner, so I'll learn that other stuff, and they apply. I think that is kind of life. Like you're not really ready to do anything until you start doing it. So if you sit around and wait to do something, like writing my book is a perfect example. I could still be planning it now, or I could just get it done, and this is how life is. There's all these things we want to do, but they don't happen unless you just kind of take that first step and get going. And like, look at Walt Disney and that's amazing. I love that so much. And that's really inspirational. And I think for anybody, whatever it is, just taking a little first step, getting started, then the momentum starts going. It's like once the ball starts rolling, it'll go faster. But if it's just sitting there, it'll just stay sitting there.
Right. It's a little bit of that, fake it till you make it. Oh, I might not be confident yet, or I might not know the dance steps yet, or I might not, but just get going. So we can all maybe borrow each other's courage and just get going.
Oh, I love that. So again, in case you missed it, it was the way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing, from Walt Disney. Awesome one. All right, everybody. Well, we have got to go because we have other things going on after this, but we're so glad that we got to meet for a few minutes to walk and talk with you. this week. And we just want to send you off and hope for you until we meet again for another walk, that your life is full of both sunshine and salsa.
Good to be with you.